Okay, 26th of January 2024, Friday, trade review recap for the ES&NQ. Had a better day today compared to the last 2 days. Green day, only 5 points, but according to the process, what I was trying to achieve, a decent day. Definitely made some mistakes. We'll go over through them. We'll go through what I did good and what I did not do so well. But to begin, let's go with the plan for the day and then what actually happened. So, coming in, obviously, this is where we're coming in. Thursday happened to be an inside day, so basically, balance rules apply. If it breaks out of balance, just monitor for acceptance. Otherwise, we just go back to balance. And then I begin with an expectation of balance. So the plan was basically ES had an inside day yesterday, suggesting a very short-term balance. All trends are up. The VIX has been slowly creeping higher, while ES was maintaining value quite high. Midday sort of reversals has been a theme lately. I'll go through it after what I actually mean, but basically, price pumps up or down all morning, only to reverse in the afternoon. Pumps up morning, only to reverse in the afternoon, and period spike doesn't matter. Pumps up, reverse, pumps down, reverse, pumps down, reverse, pumps down, reverse, pumps up, reverse. It's been a theme that you go one direction in the morning and suddenly noon hits and you're aggressively going in the other direction. I had this idea sort of in the back of my mind, but it was obviously not my priority. What happens today is the most important. But realizing what we have going on in terms of the recent auction is also very important. And then 8:30 a.m. there was Core PCE. I do not really trade the news, doesn't matter. PC may change things, yada yada yada. Looking to short any rally anywhere up in the supply zone, especially because it was a nice real drop. And even on Thursday or yesterday, we could not get any sort of acceptance. We just peeped into it and got sharply rejected. So that was my main area to short from. And this is basically a little consolidation overnight or demand zone from yesterday that worked really well yesterday. And so expecting balance, this is the first area that you go long from, especially with this demand zone. Keeping in mind that this is true balance, just a 2-day balance, and then ultimately we are in a trending higher market, very strong, very resilient. There's no need to be overly aggressive bearish on this in this area until and unless something really changes. So that was my basic idea: short from here, long from here, and pretty much that's how. Now the NQ plan. NQ was a little bit different than ES, slightly different story. So basically, ES had an inside day yesterday, but NQ actually made a low high and a lower low. It pushed value down and then it had a down day. So there's that little bit of difference right away. So can't exactly use balance rules. Still, and it has been the weaker index in comparison. So the main idea again was shorting anyone from here, go long from here. Short from here, basically this is supply zone, rejected beautifully yesterday. Very nice short up there. I did not take it. I was fucking up yesterday. Regardless, this remains key area, and this is basically kind of like the Monday and Tuesday balance zone. Very small range, very small balance that it created on this in the beginning of this week. And this is almost like a POC kind of here for these 2 days. There's this demand zone. There's this. It's basically the opening for the week. So the week will turn red from here. So this is the opening print of the week. Quite important. And that was the plan. Longs from here, shorts from here. But again, as it's not really in line with the ES held really well even overnight, and they extended our session within the prior day's range, whereas this at one point was going gap down. So there was this difference that the ES and NQ had, and that's why I had this level marked here as an important inflection point that the auction might never really go up there, especially with the lower low, lower high, and then if NQ had to continue that pattern coming all the way up here, it really just it's a little bit too much distance simply to travel. And why this area was very, very important, it's basically it marks a point of change. So the point of change is basically you come up Wednesday, you open on a gap up, massive gap up, 150 points gap, and you just rock and roll up. Even though you break down in the afternoon, you barely look into the gap. You still leave another 60, 70, 80 points worth of gap. And then next day, again, you shoot up. Again, you open in the same area, same region, similar IB sort of situation, and all morning session. But what happens on Thursday in the NQ is it breaks down. It breaks down aggressively, and it closes underneath it. So the entire region that was supporting not closing the gap the entire Wednesday and for the better half of Thursday was now breached. We almost closed the gap, leave it by a few points. Doesn't really matter. We close the gap and then we close underneath it. That's some sign. That's the first sign of that something's changing. And then overnight, we literally sold off right from there to the tick, to the opening print for the week. And that was the plan, that this seems too far away. This area is where I want to be long from, because the market is still very resilient. This is a good little consolidation in the beginning of the week. I do not want to be an aggressive short down there. And understanding that the market never comes there, this is an important inflection point, and I would look a short from here. Point of change, I will push, yada yada yada. A point of change, the basic idea. Something changed at this level. So these were the plans I had today for the ES and NQ. What I actually ended up doing, I did not take any trades in the NQ, even though there was some really good ideas. I did not take them. Do not consider them missed. Regardless, let's go over what I did for the ES. So the days open up. Obviously, there's consolidation overnight. European session picks up from the demand zone. We just go up, and then 8:30, PC comes in, and we rock and roll a little bit higher. We go higher, and then half an hour before open, we test this supply area. We just shoot back down. Good, decent buy of selling from there, and comes back right to this PCE scene of crime sort of thing. And then again, we go up. And that's where the change happens. The change happened right at the beginning of the zone, which I really like to see. Things getting rejected at the start. And that is where I took a shot. So basically I entered. There wasn't any absorption or anything order for wise going on so far. But I just took it as a mechanical system of basic price change, and I took it there. And it did work well. It worked up to 7 points in favor, at which point of time I put it break even. There were heaps of clear sign that I could have taken it out for a 6-7 point gain. There was plenty of time, plenty of reasons. I just left it be and took it out break even, just because to get an idea if my system actually even produces at a bare minimum a 2 to 1. And if I had taken it off, even though there were clear signs, it just I would just get in the habit of doing that. So to not form a habit of every time seeing a 6 7 point game and just taking it off for a 1.2 hour 1.5 hour game, I just let it be, let the stop be, and I just said it is what it is, and we'll see from there. Regardless, let's go over how I was seeing things at the hard right edge, and now that I'm reviewing it, now that I have the benefit of the hindsight, how does my hard right edge and my hindsight, how do they compare? So 9:35, important inflection point for me, which is right here, 5 minutes into the open, straight into supply zone, and I shorted it at 9:37, so basically somewhere in the 20s, 5 point change. Still early in the day, not much absorption as I said. Took it on the change, keep learning the edge of my system. Push down was good, which is this. Definitely decent push down. And then what I'm saying here is probably instead of waiting for the change here, because this was a decent push down, I could have just sold here at the top, have a 5 point stop loss, which gives me a far better reward if I'm thinking that price is going down. If I have reasons to believe that this pivot holds and this is my lower high. And so it basically increases my reward by 5 points, still keeping my risk 5 points. So the risk, even the risk here is still 5 points. Had I sold it here, the risk would still have been 5 points. But the reason I did not do it is like I prefer RTH sessions. I actually consider RTH sessions stronger sessions because you have much more volume there. And so to use this as a pivot, this would be like putting my entire confidence in an overnight pivot or overnight market. Usually weaker hand traders, but since this was right before the open, still good, decent volume there. Regardless, doesn't really matter. It's not about that I did not take it here. It's just an afterthought. So don't change after the opening of the session, and then obviously there's, as I said, there's not much absorption. There's nothing really going on. It's about the context. The wicks was pretty much at the previous day's high, and the ES still at the previous day's high. So there's this a little bit of give there that could have helped, and it did help for 7 points. But what was the most important thing here is, yeah, this actually made it look really good because there was this decent bout of buying up here, and then somebody came in and just reverses this thing. So at this point of time, I was really happy. Like, if this buying doesn't get follow through, should be a good position. Otherwise, probably toast. So basically, if this gets follow through, obviously I'm toast. My stop loss is here. Stronger aggressive sellers seem to be sleeping. I do like this action of the delta flip. Want to gauge the reaction at this PC scene of clients out of 49.11. That was the low, but basically this is the scene of crime for the PC. The news came in and we showed up, and then that is actually where we came in. No acceptance below, and there was a lot of absorption right here of the sellers. Not a good show by sellers so far. Looks like going to get stopped out. If this was an area where I wanted longs, I would take this as a really good sign for my long. So this is something against my position, and that is what I wanted to reiterate here, like how clear it was that I should have taken it off. And I'm not unhappy that I did not take it off. It's just a point where I need to find the edge of my system and compare it to what I actually see, and then see if there's an actual edge. So definitely, had I been just doing my thing, I would have taken it off here. See here, leaving this negative 1500, negative 1000, negative 1000, negative 2000. That's a lot of selling, and it's all at lows. and all the point of controls are at the bottom. These are all selling. It's all selling down here. Nearly 4-5,000 negative delta right here in this 3-4 point range, and they do not get any follow through. And that's what I write. I take this as a good sign for my long, with these sellers not getting any follow through. If I had a plan to long from here, and now here I'm in a short and it's open space for me, so just letting it be. Look at all that selling, pushing but not getting much. All these POCs at the bottom instantly get pushed up. There is enough fuel for new all-time highs. So I'm happy with what I learned, at least with the order flow read at this point of time. And I don't only really got break even. I do not really care about how the position ended up. I only really cared about, did I follow my process and what was my thought process behind it, if it was MGI based or not. And today was, and some of it is testing based, so that's fine. In a field for new all-time highs, inverse head and shoulder on 1 minute. It's just my trigger chart. Don't really see a 1 minute. I would break even, had enough time to get a win. That's a balance verifying system, and let's see. And squeeze, and basically right on cue when I say in a field for the all-time highs. That's where we end up going. Take the all-time high by a point, and that was that. Could I have longed here? Obviously I could have, but then that's not a planned trade. And that's the thing with not planned trades. Like, if they don't work out, because you never know if this would work out. Like, this had a high probability, but you never know. Somebody comes in with another 20,000 lots to sell, and then suddenly you are 10 points down in the hole, and you're reviewing that trade wasn't planned, and obviously you look stupid. So I'm not unhappy that I did not take that trade. It's just something to know of, something to keep in the books. And then from there, we just consolidate one break-even trade. And then that was what I did. And then here, even though this is in the supply zone from where I want to short, spending so much time, so much value down here, I just could not see any reason to short it up here, even though there was a little failed probe for actually the all-time high, which is definitely a bearish sign, probing the highest highs and not getting any follow through. But regardless, it's consolidating and spending so much time and building so much energy up here. It's very hard to say which side of this is going to break. Maybe there was some signs because it's staying at the top, but there is absolutely no buying going on there. There's just decent, some buying comes in every time it touches the morning high. And that was that, but there are no stronger buyers present. There's just not much volume to push it up further, but still not much short because of this much consolidation. It's anybody's guess which side it's going to break. There were some signs here, as there was like a lot of trying towards the end of it to push it up. Never really got any follow through. Liquidated strongly. Took out the low of the day. Again, did not really follow through much below the low of the day. Not my trade. Doesn't fit in my system. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Something changed as it broke the low of the day. Something changed as it broke the low of the day, and basically somebody bought it aggressively. It's like 1,000 lot, 2,000 lot, 3,000 lot, straight up 1,000 lots order. That was really aggressive. See it, like you can actually see it here, straight up 1,000 lots order. Something like somebody was happy to buy this dip. Somebody was closing tons of short. God knows from where. because we're not really, we are actually too close to the top. Insane amount of buying up here. A lot of aggressive buying. Now again, it's not good. It's not really getting any follow through. These are thousand lots order, but they're staying in the same place. It's basically a thousand lot order at the same price. Somebody also taking all of those aggressive buys. So at this point of time, this the sellers are not able to push it anymore. The buyers are not able to push it anymore, and it's just a waiting game to see if somebody shows their hand, and then we get this little quick flush down, and then there's so much absorption of the sellers again at the lows, and it's understanding that somebody was happy to buy all of this selling early in the morning at pretty much the same price, and now we are 2 points lower. They go aggressive, and then they're happy to buy, happy to absorb all of these sellers again at the same price again. Now this again looks really good for a long, but this is again, I haven't planned to put my risk against this area, so I'm just sitting on hands, cognizant of the fact that somebody put 1,000 lots, 1,000 lot worth of orders here. Somebody absorbed nearly 2, 3, 4, 4,000, almost 5,000 lots worth of selling here, and then this really just looks like a liquidation break, because if this were to be stronger sellers, they would just keep pushing. Obviously they're not. Looks very clear on a TPO chart. So the TPO chart, it actually looks like a P, so a short squeeze which happened right here after the absorption in the morning. And then now this is just like a B, if you see it here, a long liquidation, not getting any follow through, a little flush, puts a little excess, absorbs all of these sellers, shorting the breakdown, and we just go up from there. And even though I could see all of this, it wasn't in my planned area. I decided to take it just to test the idea of like what I'm to put some risk against my intuition, or what I could actually see, not just an intuition, or like what I could objectively see, because often I would write in my notes that this is what I see, and then that's what would happen. And I'm like, why didn't I take it? Obviously, it's not in my plan trade. I don't consider them missed. But to put some risk against what I see on the hard right edge, to actually gather some data for if what I actually see works out or not, rather than just going through my journal at the end and have that bias data where I only look at things that worked out, and I saw this, and all of that worked out. I decided to put some risk on and test this time, like I'm seeing this, but if that actually works out. This time it did. I had some internal conflict here going on. Should I put risk on because it's not in my plan trade, or should I actually put risk on with the mindset of learning something? And I decided to put some risk on. I did put some risk on, but the entry was late. Doesn't really matter. Long MES, just trying my idea. Sellers getting absorbed, aggressive bids, all same things. Wicks falling off, and this was my idea to take it up to this breakdown point. But what I did wrong with this, even though I had taken this trade as a way to test and a way to learn, there was this little blip at VWAP, and I just took it off, closed it immediately to see, not give those 5 points back, since I already had a break-even trade this morning. So I let my previous trade affect this trade, and then I let my mindset of not having a loser, or at least having some sort of win for the day, a green trade. I took it off, even though there were no real reasons to have taken it off there. Like in the morning, there were clear reasons to take it off, and I did not take it off. and now there were absolutely zero reason to take it off, and I took it off. So this is something I really do need to work on. So to act based on what the market is telling me, not what I think the market should do. Really good lesson here. Happy that I took this trade. Definitely something to learn from today's session. Happy with how the session progressed. Obviously, only got 5 points after sitting for the entire session, but that's not the point. The point is to keep on learning through it, to keep on observing how things happen, and just get better at executing them, especially. That was the yes. NQ, I was just not focused on it today. So there was this decent, very good opportunity here at this important inflection point. Very, very good opportunity. I was just so focused on yes, holding its all-time highs, or near all-time highs, and this consolidation. I just was not seeing the short right up here, especially because it's just holding up above the initial balance. It's holding strong. But then what I failed to recognize is even though it's holding strong, it's not going any higher. So if it's not going any higher, the most likely, the only real thing that can happen is either it stays in the same place or it goes down. Like, there's only 3 ways it can go. It can stay in the same place, it can go higher, it can go lower. It's really not going much further. It's not extending range. It extended range in C period and it's been there for another hour and a half. And if it doesn't want to go higher, probably it wants to go lower, especially when it's at an important inflection point. So I did miss this trade, but it was a function of lost focus and not clearly thinking at that point of time, as in not as in a clouded judgment, but just not the best read, or not giving proper weightage to all the presented MGI. And there was definitely a very good sign up there, which is right here with the 1000 delta right at the top, high of day, at an important inflection zone. So definitely missed that trade. Not sad, but not happy about it. And we'll try short from 17,660 to 30, and the high of the day was 32. So there's definitely something there. Happened to fucking missed it. Anyways, only one real trade set up in the NQ, and I missed it. It looks better in hindsight because obviously it had such a big drop. But regardless, there were enough reasons to have at least tried it. I probably would have stopped out here, at least for the first try, by not having any leeway for the stop. And it would really only have worked out if I had taken a second try. And that is, as this week would suggest, my execution still very weak. Trade management even weaker. So still not sure even if I tried I would have made money here or not. Or if I had made money, had I made it to the extent that was provided or not. Regardless, happy with how I performed today, how I kept myself today. A lot of scope, room for improvement, but I'll get there. Awesome.